So it's finally stopped raining, so I'm going to do some skating again today. I've been learning freestyle, so this will be my third session kind of trying it properly on this. So it's a board I made myself using like an old school deck. I've cut down the nose and tail and re-drilled the wheelbase, which you can kind of see here where the grip tape's fallen off. You can also see the grip tape is wrecked. That's because I'm filming this after I've done it all. And the local park is kind of at the bottom of a hill, and almost like a basin. So it just collects all of the water and mud and grossness, and you have to walk through loads of grass to get to it. It's not ideal, especially for like trying freestyle and like footwork where I had like no grip. So just getting my excuses out of the way early. What I wanted to focus on today was like all the basics, but kind of going through them slowly and purposefully, just getting used to quite foreign movements for me. Coming from street and transition skating, it's very different in terms of your balance and how you shift your weight, especially because the board's like a lot narrower and the wheelbase is so much smaller, which I didn't think would affect me as much as it has. But like I'll usually skate like an 8.75, so going down to, this is now a 7.3, yeah, it's a bit of a weird shift. In terms of the other specs of stuff, I'm riding 7.13 mini logo trucks and Discordian wheels with like the offset, because I've read up that that's very helpful for rail stands and everything. I don't actually remember what the size or hardness is, but I'll put that up in a thing. And I've added grip tape to nose and tail because I have seen from a lot of other people that that really helps. But yeah, I wanted to get into freestyle because I've seen it a lot more. A lot of the tricks that I do are kind of nicked from freestyle anyway. Like a lot of my like party tricks that I do on transition, and a lot of like my 1 foot pivots and stuff like that come from freestyle. Also, I'm like a firm believer that learning all aspects of a craft like really help you kind of hone that craft. So I mean, I'm interested to see how improving freestyle skills will affect my other skating. I also tried to combine tricks to get that freestyle flow. It was difficult with the ground conditions. Kind of pick the worst spot to do it really. There are tennis courts nearby that I could go for, so I might do that for the next session. But like the park I did it in is like rough ground, wet and muddy, so it was interesting. But yeah, hope you enjoy. Cheers, thanks for watching.
So I found a very narrow stretch of dry-ish ground between the mani pad and the rail here. But yeah, it's quite rough, so the monster walks weren't as fluid as last time, which is a shame. Walk the dogs felt a lot harder today. I was actually kind of annoyed while doing them because it felt like a bit of a backward step from previous sessions. But I do understand that progress isn't linear, so I tried not to feel too critical about it. This is a trick I've seen and really loved from a lot of the videos I've been watching. I knew it would be a challenge, and I still don't feel like I've fully unlocked the movement here. The problem is that so much of it is down to momentum, and trying to break it down into steps doesn't necessarily work in the same way. Maybe on smoother, drier ground and with some more speed, this will have a chance to kind of start working for me. My main goal was to pull together a few basic footwork moves into a nice flowy line. It didn't need to be quick or particularly flashy, but I wanted to focus on it feeling smooth. One of the things I found really interesting was the precision needed, especially with such a small board and tight trucks. I had written down a few combos I wanted to try before the session, but I quickly found that this forward monster walk, shove, backwards monster walk was a really fun challenge. But it's really hard to ensure that you're getting your back foot to land in the pocket again, so you can start the monster walk smoothly. I also want to take this time to mention 4 skaters who've really inspired me in learning freestyle. and all have like great content on here. So that's Sarah Park Matot and Mike Osterman, who are in the US, and then Tony Gale and Denham Hill, who are both also British skaters. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying watching all their videos and finding it really inspiring. I'll add links to their channels in the description because I'm not actually sure how to do that as like a pop-up thing, so apologies for that. But yeah, definitely check them out. Really cool stuff. So yeah, finger flips, very fun. The first few I do are actually based on an early grab trick that I love doing, like up Euro gaps and to fakie on ramps. So I thought I'd start that with some hand shoves. But yeah, immediately regretting not sanding down the rails on my board as much, because yeah, it's quite painful grabbing the sides when they're basically like splintering edges. So yeah, definitely something to remember. I am planning on getting a proper freestyle deck soon, and I think that will help a lot. Well, you'll see later in the video. Major issues with having a DIY kind of style deck instead of proper freestyle equipment, but I guess that's what you get for being cheap. This is something I definitely neglected in my first two videos because I was focusing more on footwork. You don't tend to practice them in street skating apart from like being obsessed with them as a kid. So it's weird to come back to. I'm aware that my foot's touching the floor, which isn't ideal or that good practice, but it's something I'll work up to properly. Yeah, I was struggling a bit, but then after watching Sarah Park Matot and Tony Gale's trick tips, tried coming into it fakie, and having that momentum really helped. Right, this was definitely the biggest challenge of this session. I think it's not something I'd done much since being a kid, and yeah, my only real experience of going to rail has been landing primo by accident, and that never ends well. So I've got quite a negative association with it. It's really weird being on the rail of your board and having that as like a safe landing space, kind of having to rewire my brain to feel okay with that, which is, yeah, really interesting and, you know, a fun challenge. But I think at the time I wasn't necessarily having a great time. I've actually cut out the majority of these attempts because I was honestly trying this for about 15 minutes straight, and no one needs to watch all of that. Yeah, it was quite disheartening. I think at this point I'd kind of considered giving up. I'm immediately going to come out with the excuse that I think I've cut the rails of the board too thin, as I definitely feel more comfortable standing in rail on my usual setup, where the board like slightly overhangs the wheels. Either that or I just have no balance, which is equally likely. This one was quite brief. I still don't fully understand how people are jumping off this. It feels insane to me. Yeah, definitely go try this if you haven't already. It's wild. And then back to more kind of footwork stuff. I think, yeah, I needed an easy win after some difficult challenges. And yeah, this is just really enjoyable, kind of moving about like this. It's quite bouncy, and feels a lot more fluid. My goal earlier in the session was to get monster walks to a shove to backward monster walk, which I think would be really fun. And then after trying the Polinos, it was also to try and get that front shove out of monster walk, which I kind of did there. So hopefully Polinos will kind of become a bit easier now. I don't know. Endovers are really fun. Basically just spinning around in it. Definitely got me really dizzy though. I have no idea how people are doing these in competitions, just like one after another, and then doing spins as well. That's crazy. And then yeah, did some 1 foot ones, which I think are called smoothies. Right, switchblades. These are probably my favourite tricks so far. I've really enjoyed learning these. They're so unusual and so unlike anything you do in street or transition skating. I guess the closest thing would be like a can tail stool. Also, yeah, saw these front side, I guess they are, ones someone did the other day, and was like, that's really cool as well, so gave them a shot. They were a bit harder again this session than the last one. I don't know if it was down to the ground or maybe like not as much grip on my board this time. But yeah, really fun session. So that's everything really. Bye. Thanks as well. Oh, and like and subscribe and all of that if you want.